This is CountryGirl's story. Chapter 12, Where There's Smoke. Oh, excuse me. We have things to discuss, Elvina. You must be serious if you're still calling me that. Ellie looked up from the survey maps she was going over in the study. She hadn't seen her father since the end of the will reading the day before, more than the overt use of her formal name. I feel like there's supposed to be a stipulation for this. Like, what more than the overt use of her formal name? She hadn't seen her father more than the... Like, that. I feel like there's something missing in this sentence. Because more than what? More overt than what? Like, there's a feeling that it's supposed to be giving off about Kingsley, but it's just not in the sentence. So I feel like breaking these into two separate sentences is like, makes it kind of confusing to read. Does that make sense? Because, like, you've answered the question before you've asked it. And I'm like, well, I didn't ask anything for this. And then it kind of makes me pause, and I'm like, okay, question mark, right? It's like, you don't want to have those moments of question mark. You want to be like, there was something in his posture that warned she would not like this conversation. More than the overt use of her formal name. Yeah, because, like, I feel like this... No, she hadn't seen her father since the end of the will reading that day before. More than the overt use of her formal name, there was something in his posture that warned she would not like this conversation. The power of punctuation that can just change an entire fucking sentence. Yup. What's so important? Because those are the questions I'm asking myself, right? Is this a mistake of punctuation? Is this a mistake of wording? Is this a mistake of editing? As in, like, you copy and pasted something somewhere and missed a sentence, right? Like, you're, like, filling in gaps. I do that all the fucking time, because I separate everything apart, and then I have to combine it back together, right? So there'll be sometimes I'll be missing quotations, or I'll be missing punctuation, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? And it's because it never caught the first end of what, or the final end of whatever I was copying. Pro writing aid has been messing me up lately. Yeah, that's why I just try not to use those things. If I want, I'll go to an editor and a line editor to get the grammar stuff, but I don't like machines telling me that I have fragmented sentences. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I have fragmented sentences. Suck my dick, bitch. Eat my fragmented sentences. And run on sentences. It was this, and then it was that, and then it was this, and then it was that, and then there was this, and then there was that, and then we went there, and we did that, and it was great. It's a fine sentence, okay? Fuck off. What's so important? We need to discuss your future, Kingsley spoke as if he had not heard her. I've been negotiating with Charles Oslo, and he is willing to agree to a match. You've come back to Palem, and Marcus is still single. You can't be serious. She stared at him in stunned disbelief. I was named last night, and you're trying to take over already. Your marriage to Kieran will benefit both. That's the old name, isn't it? It was up here. You had it right here. Just missed the mark with that one. Benefit from both the Karras family and the coven. Kingsley folded his arms. He looked down at her, exasperated. Well, it was true he hadn't been present for her formative years. He still apparently viewed her as his child that would bow in duty to whatever he said. You don't have the privilege of being rebellious and stubborn about it anymore. You have the welfare of the coven to think of now. And the way you ensure that is arranged that I... And the way to ensure that is arranging that I marry Marcus. How could she not have seen this coming? How could Gran not have seen this coming? Kingsley had always had a penchant for overstepping his place. Of course, he would try to work his way with or without legal recognition. There's no law saying an elder can't be an unmarried woman. Gran led for decades after Granddad died, which made her an honored widow, you spoiled child, he shouted, words slapping her in the face so much that she instinctively lowered her eyes to the ground in submission. You don't have the standing in the coven to command their respect. I'm not marrying Marcus. And there's not a damn thing you can do to make me, Ellie said, quickly gathering herself. She didn't shout back, mostly for the lack of need. Her tone and demeanor were becoming lower and colder. Her father might have not realized it, but she had inherited the same hard-nosed and intransigence that had been a brand of Karis witches for generations. I've been away from Palem for a good while, it's true. Ellie waved a hand, directing the ledger books and maps to move back to their places on the bookshelves. She took a step out from behind the desk, redirecting her attention to her father. But I'm back now. Gran trusted me to be in charge of this ranch and of the coven, and that's what I intend to do. I'll do it the way she taught me. So you actually mean to defy me and everyone, when you have no husband and no prospect of an heir to claim the family legacy? And there it is. At least you finally said it. Ellie threw up her hands in mock satisfaction. This isn't about the coven or Gran giving it to me. This is about you. She straightened her posture. It was nerve-wracking to be squaring off with her own father, but she wasn't about to let him see her back down. You want to force me into a marriage so you, and probably your lapdog Charles Oslo, can pull both of our strings. Marcus would probably be a good little boy and do as his father ordered him, but I sure as hell won't. If you think I'll willingly sell myself off like some broodmare for the sake of your ambitions, you're out of your mind. A prized broodmare, Kingsley's fingers twitched, sending a flash of dark orange light erupting from his carnelian channel ring, flying to impact at her stomach. The blow sent Ellie to the floor before she had a chance to dodge it. She let out a sharp groan of pain, squinting her eyes shut in concentration. She knew she had to be ready if he made another move as he stepped to loom over her, glowering. You'll do as you're told. No. No, I don't think I will, she grunted, getting back to her feet, her offhand favoring her stomach as the other quickly drew her gun. Some unclouded part of her mind was grateful they were at point-blank range. Like most things with her, her father would no doubt underestimate her shooting ability, and there was no sense in letting him in on the mistaken assumption. I hope you enjoyed that. It's the last unanswered blow you'll ever have from me. Ellie stood as a surge of power flowed through her. She raised her left arm and leveled the weight of her six-shooter and pointed it square at Kingsley's chest. There was another sense of power gathering around the channeled fingers of her left hand. She must have begun the summoning process out of instinct. The gathering smoke that had shifted from the hearth had broken itself and was now circling in deep charcoal gray coils on her right arm. I'm not the same little girl you ignored. I'm a grown woman and I'm not afraid of you. You'd threaten your own father. Kingsley's focus shifted repeatedly from her expression to the raised firearm. You don't have it in you. You're not so sure of that right now, are you? Ellie did everything she could to keep all emotion out of her speech. Gran gave me this place. That means the family and the coven. I didn't expect it. I didn't want it or ask her for it. But we are here. We are where we are. And I'm going to do what she wanted and protect the family the best I know how. If that is true, then you're obviously not ready for this responsibility. Kingsley said carefully. His own hands were raised by now, still glowing with orange aura from the recent assault. Then why would you try to hold on to it? Hand the reins over to those better suited for it. You still don't get it, do you? Ellie allowed a grin to spread across her face. How long had she wanted to stand her ground against the man who had been a source of pain and fear in her life? It was true she hadn't asked for any part of it, but the twisting in her gut was now somewhere between trepidation and relief that, for the first time she could remember, she had the power not to give in to her father. Grad trusted me, not you, to take care of the things that she loved most, which means that it's on me, not you, to take up her mantle that she left. Mantle that was my birthright to hold. You keep saying that, but seem to forget that our laws say the elder and elder alone gets to choose their successor. Ellie took a step forward toward him. Kingsley fired another orange blast toward her heart, but the shifting smoke blocked and dispersed it. There's one thing you should know by now. It's that Hollow Point means as much to me as it did to Gran. Now, I would hate to spill Kara's blood in this house, but I will if I have to. You'd be a pariah in the territory. He was trying to sound stern and authoritative, but the cool veneer that he was used to showing decidedly slipped when Ellie had drawn on him. It wasn't lost on either of them since he'd taken a step back. It would mean killing your own blood, and no one would support you, even if the law would be after you for it. I wouldn't be so sure of that, Mr. Karras. Cord appeared, leaning against the doorframe, his own gun drawn. He didn't seem the least bit surprised or worried at the standoff he was joining. Not if she's got plenty of reliable witnesses saying it was self-defense, which I assure you I'll have no trouble doing. Suppose if I testify that I got every word of those threats you were making on your own daughter's life, and while the ranch was in mourning, no less. And who are you to be making those claims against me, Mr. Cortez? A sneer dripped from Kingsley's voice. You're nothing but a gunner and a hired hand. I'm a son Miss Karras could at least be proud of. She deserved so much more than the bitter disappointment from the one she gave birth to. Elv, it's 2-on-1, your call, but I think you can at least lower one of those hands. Cord crossed the room and stepped into place on Ellie's flank and addressed Kingsley. Not that you ever tried to listen to her while she was here. And you took every advantage to heart, didn't you? The contempt that Kingsley had directly was directed fully at Ellie, that Kingsley had directed, contempt that Kingsley had directed fully at Ellie. I'm bad at English. Fuck. I'm so bad at English. Contempt that Kingsley had directly... I'm like, I read it one time where it made sense. Why can't I read it again where it makes sense? Contempt that Kingsley had directly fully... Did I just read it wrong and I was like, oh, I'm retarded. It directed... I swear I read it and then I was like, oh, wait, no, that makes sense. What am I talking about? And then I read it again and I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. I'm fucking crazy. Fuck me. This is bullshit. The contempt that Kingsley had directed fully at Ellie was now shared with Cord. I always knew my mother lost direction first, giving Ellie a free rein and welcoming outsiders to call Hollow Point home. Which burns the hell out of you, doesn't it? Almost as much as that I am family. Now, Miss K is gone. There's only one person who can say I'm not. I'd cut myself open before I would ever betray her. Cord's eyes moved to Ellie, shining fiercely before focusing on Kingsley's again. I'll tell you something else, Mr. Karras. If you ever come here looking to do her harm again, I'll rip you apart. What's more, I won't need a drop of your family's magic to do it. It was written wrong, stupid typo. It doesn't get caught by spell check because it's a proper word. Yeah. Spell check isn't smart enough for that shit. I'll be right back. I gotta fucking grab some more shit to blow my nose with. This is bullshit. Bullshit. Ugh. My mother really has damned the family to this. Kingsley shook his head, appearing to come to some resolution within himself. I've never been more ashamed. Great! Now he's even angrier, Ellie muttered when Kingsley had stalked off. I had it under control. Was threatening him like that really necessary? He was showing his hand. Yeah, and what if he realized you still weren't willing to knock him down to size and called your bluff? A few more minutes, your face was going to show his hand. He examined the places where he could tell that she had been hit. Ellie dropped to the defensive stance. The surrounding smoke faded into the air. He's hurt you enough. I'm not having anyone, especially Kingsley over there disrespect you in Hollow Point. Are you alright? I'm fine, Ellie said as he led her to an armchair by the fire. Again, if like this is the same place that's at the desk where the couch is, this is another instance of it feels like this appears out of nowhere. But that's just me. Because it's the difference between a character noticing something in the room and character interacting with something in the room. If the character hasn't noticed something in the room, but they're interacting with it, it seems abrupt to the reader. And that's just like scene development like technique, right? Easy fix. But I still say it's not relevant until it's needed. Yeah, but I think I was thinking on that. I was like, how's a good way to say it? I think the best way to say it is a character seeing an object before they interact with it. Because if they just instantly interact with it, it feels like it popped out of nowhere. But if the character sees it, then it feels like it's part of the setting. I think that's like the psychology behind why I think it feels like it pops out of nowhere. I'm fine, Ellie said as he led her to an armchair by the fire, made her sit down and unbuttoned her shirt to inspect the damages. I shouldn't have egged him on. It was my fault. You wouldn't have mattered if you did or not. I've been waiting for something like this since he got here. Once satisfied that the point of impact wouldn't bruise too badly, Cord shifted his attention to how she fell. Felt? I knew Miss K was gonna name you. Just as sure as I knew old King over there wasn't gonna like it. Will you stop that? I'll live. Ellie laughed out of relief while she shoved his hand away. I've never talked to him like that before. He had it coming, but she's been in this room 1,000 times. She wouldn't think about the placement of furniture till she needed it. Oh, right, she fell to the floor. I forgot. That's right, he knocked her down with the first hit. Family gathered for a death might be expected to leave more tenderly than they arrived. Ellie had no such illusions when they watched the loading of the stage the next day. Small blessings that they're not trying to stake a claim to being allowed to move back here, Cord muttered to her. This place is yours and big enough. But with this many Karases, it might as well be a grain silo. I don't get the and big enough. This place is yours and big enough. This sentence confuses me. Like, why is he referring to a grain silo? Hey, Ellie, can I talk to you for a minute? For a large family to stay and live. Oh. Aaron walked up to them with no small hesitation in his step. He's saying if they stayed, it would be too crowded. Yeah, that's why I'm like, the big enough and the butt feel like they clash. This is your place, and it's pretty big, but with this many Karases, right, it'll feel like it's completely stuffed. But that's just me. I know it's right. It's just it's a feeling, right? It's just it feels like it clashes. But yeah, especially for style. Yeah. But again, I'm just telling you how I feel about it, right? It's like it's just supposed to be like a this is what I'm getting out of the sentence, and then if I get confused. But yeah, like I say, I always say, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm retarded. So half of it's me. So if it's me, and it's a stylistic choice, then just ignore me, right? Hey Ellie, can I talk to you for a minute? Aaron walked up to them with no small hesitation in his step. Alone, if you don't mind? Elv? I'll be fine out here. She gave him a nod, accompanied by a knowing look. The biggest threat was dun 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 Kingsley, who had shown his motives and made his move for now. There's also, like, you're using, like, specifically, like, a specific syntax of, like, older English, right? Especially in, like, specific characters' dialogues. So, for me, that's just, like, something I'm not used to, right? But it definitely gives uniqueness to the voice. Biggest threat was Kingsley, who'd shown his motives and made his move for now. Hearing whatever Aaron had to say could do no greater damage. Taking the train with them until the stop back to Kalamnu. Damn. Ain't pronouncing that one properly. I'll bet you want to start looking into Gran's contacts. Yeah, I think they'll be good for business. Aaron's eyes darted back to see that they weren't in danger of being overheard. Kalamnu. Okay. Evidently, this was only a preamble. It's a decent traveler's town. Having these names on my sleeves will help me build the reputation of the liar's fiddle. Good, she'd be glad. Ellie tried to be casual. She was actually getting curious as to what her older brother was on about. Whatever it was, she doubted it was as simple as better booze for his saloon patrons. Sorry, is there something else you wanted? Cal, like California? Kalamnu? Kalamnu. You didn't deserve the things Pop said to you. I'm sorry? If she had any expectations in talking to Aaron, support against Kingsley wasn't one of them. Since she was a little girl, the only member of the Karras family she could ever count on was Kay. Both Aaron and Elam had taken their father's side nearly since the day their mother died. The drunken rant at the Iron Gate or trying to attack me in the study yesterday, which was after he informed me he was planning my future behind my back. Just about all of it. Aaron had his eyes firmly on his boots. Gran must have had her reasons for what she did. Pop took whatever he feels for her out on you, and that was wrong. Well, thank you. She felt undeniable surprise. But a seed of gratitude quickly took root. That means more than I think I can tell you. What's more wrong is that I haven't said it before. Aaron was shuffling.
I would be the type of person who leaves the bathroom stall door open that I am in, and when someone opens the stall door I'd be like, hey, what game do you want to play?
Exactly, Mike. Huge W, bro. Now just make sure you do that in the women's washroom. I mean, what? Aaron was shuffling uncomfortably again. Ellum and me, well, we should have started talking up for you a long time ago. Our father didn't exactly make an appealing option for you growing up. It wasn't an idea she had considered before. In this new light, however, maybe in a separate way, her brothers had also been subject to Kingsley's displeasure. It was either side with him or face the consequences. Well, we're not those kids anymore. It was the first time during the conversation he'd met her eye. At least saw he was genuine. Fucking ads! Get it out of here! Fucking ads! Get the ads. Get gone, get good. Get ads, gone good. Get gone, good ads. Gone! Get good, gone, get gone. Ads be gone. Get gone, good ads. Go. Bye. Bye, bye, bad. Go back on my phone and ads. The almighty ads. What kind of ads, you say? The kind I don't need to pay. Wait, what? That's right. Buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later. That's the best way to get ads. Buy now, pay later. Yeah, buy it for $5 now, pay $15 later. You think you're $5,000 in debt? You're actually $27,000 in debt. Don't worry, keep buying more ads. Keep buying more ads. More. More, I says, more is what you need, son. 3, 2, 1, go! Welcome back. Alright. Well, we're not those kids anymore. It's the first time during the conversation he'd met her eye. At least saw he was genuine. Or maybe she just wanted him to be. Well, with Gran gone and you in charge now, think it might be time for mending fences. I can agree with that, Ellie replied. Then threw caution to the wind and raised the subject that had been weighing on her for the last day. Cord mentioned something about coming back here more to visit Gran in the last couple of years. Yeah, ever since Cassie was born. Possibly without realizing it, Aaron touched the gold band on the finger next to his own channel ring. Gran was a wellspring of good advice on some nights when she was, colicking? And Leanne and I were at our wits' end. I'll bet. She looked her brother up and down for maybe the first time, noticing the man he'd become was far cry from the boy she barely remembered. You really have changed, haven't you? Nah, Aaron grinned, shaking his head. Just grew up and learned what it means to be a real daddy. Before either of them could continue the topic, Aaron was called and informed that the stage was loaded, rigged, and ready to go. Yes, it's a thing that happens with babies. I just didn't know it could be used as a verb. I know what colic is, but I didn't know it could be used as a verb like that. But it's in dialogue, so it's... anything in dialogue, you can break any rule with dialogue as long as it's the characters, dialogue, right? As long as it's, consistent with what you're doing with that character, with how they speak. So. Spelling mistakes in dialogue is actually very common. To infer that a character can't, like, has an accent or can't pronounce a word properly, or, you know, something like that. They have a lisp. But it's usually only done in dialogue. Don't be a stranger. Aaron, you know Callum knew it's only a Normal's Day ride away. Don't be a stranger. I'd love to meet my sister-in-law, not to mention my niece. She watched at the end of the drive as the dust of the coach wheels settled, and the same thought that had been running through her head since the moment the release ceremony had concluded was her companion still. She was the Karis of Hollow Point now, elder of the Palem Coven, and, by association, matriarch of the family. The result was anything but what she had been expecting. Ellie had anticipated coming back for long enough to put Kay's body to rest, release her soul, and maybe retrieve a keepsake or two from the house before leaving for what would have likely been the last time in her life. Instead, here she stood at the crossbeams that marked the entrance to the ranch as not only a leader, don't need that second as, but as the sole owner of her family home. This place is mine, she said, barely loud enough to be heard over the dull roar of the wind. The vertical post, Ellie found her initials still visibly etched in the wood. And this is like another thing, like I don't think you've mentioned the wind before. So it's like, again, it just kind of feels abrupt. Where there was kind of no build up to it, it just kind of came out of nowhere. The vertical post, Ellie found her initials still visibly etched in the wood. It can be home again. Grand, if you were planning this, why the hell couldn't you just tell me? Why make Cord wait until you were gone to call me back? Every question Ellie had that so desperately... Yo, Nico! How's it going? Welcome, welcome! Are you ready for another chapter, Nico? Every question Ellie had that was so desperately needed to be answered filled the surrounding air. It felt like she was in close proximity to a funnel. It felt like she was in close proximity to a funnel cloud that was both solitary and growing. Fine, and yeah, I'm ready. It's shorter. That's all good. No worries, Nico. We're almost done here. Waiting for the time to choose its path and do the most damage to the landscape. She allowed her feet to guide her down the driveway and through one of the front cattle pastures that hadn't changed since she had been away. Really, it didn't feel like they'd changed since she was a little girl. She was glad to feel everything from the rolling gray clouds and changing leaves of the middle of fall to casual animal conversations of moos and neighs as she approached. Even the thick earthly scents of gathered beasts in the barn were welcoming. You were away for a long time, it said as she stopped at the stall of Duke, Kay's pride and joy of a stallion. But you're back now. We haven't forgotten you, any more than you could forget us. Yep, damn the consequences, but it looks like I'm here to stay. Ellie reached up and put a hand under the soft and flowing mane to stroke the broad neck of the horse. Do you know that she's gone? Oh, don't worry yourself about him, Miss Ellie, Jake called as he appeared from the door of the tack room. Duke here is one of the first Miss Kay said goodbye to. I heard her talking to him for hours last week. Didn't think anything of it at the time, you know how she was with him. You know how she was with him. She was out here past dark, brushing and feeding him and telling him all sorts of things. Told me to go in for dinner once I finished with all the others in here. She said she'd see to everything he needed. He is a beauty, isn't he? Her hand practically swam in the tendrils of his mane, which were in themselves a living shadow. While all men Korra undoubtedly possessed powerful gifts, the Dun was deemed both more powerful and luckier. Its mobile darkness flowed from head to tail along its dorsal stripe. Do you think it's true what they say, that the pale riders of pure white men Korra? Likely so. My guess is a particularly unpleasant gelding. Jake offered an open hand of cut apples, which Duke himself speedily accepted. Whatever secrets Miss Kay told him before she left, she took into the valley with one of his brothers. Figures he is the one that gets the explanation, she let out a cynical laugh. It really was just like Kay to choose such a confidant for her motives. Talia's probably got food on the table by now. Why don't you go and eat? I might as well follow her lead, huh? Looks like you're just about to be done taking care of the others. Maybe if I do what Gran did, he'll fill me in on some of her secrets. I wish you luck with that, Miss Ellie. I really do. Jake. Jake tipped his hat to her before leaving. Once she was alone again, Ellie supplied Duke's stall with fresh water and feed. Of course, Duke was a beautifully made animal, even by Mancora standards. Herds of wild Mancora were difficult to catch and more difficult to break or gentle. Kay had found this third sire, the original Duke, as an injured young colt and healed him enough to get him back on the ranch to rest. By the time he was well again, he had found a home at the ranch, and in time, so did the rest of the herd. Kay had welcomed him and had worked to begin the Duke Mancora bloodline that Hollow Point Ranch had gained a notable reputation for. More so, they had worked diligently to get town approval as sanctuary lands for the Mancora to come and go as a herd as they pleased. 45 posted, spatial delivery. Nice. What do you think, huh? Ellie asked. She wasn't expecting a response and froze when he gave one. After scenting the air carefully, he began huffing and nuzzling at the spot where Kay's mark touched her shoulder. So this is part of her plan, isn't it? Don't suppose you know what this is or what I'm supposed to do next. Maybe I can help you figure that. A new and distinctly human man's voice whispered in her ear. Evening, Ellie. It's been a long time. Marcus. What is it with people sneaking up behind her? I love the clash between Kingsley and fucking Ellie. That was fucking great. Especially people who have no business even talking with her. Oh, it's everyone in the background trying to be like, yo, how's it going? Just get the fuck out of here, bitch. I want nothing to do with you. Always weeding their way in, seeping into her space, trying to put themselves somewhere. Well, fuck them, okay? They dead, motherfuckers. It was not entirely her fault. She was lost in thought and talking to a horse. I know, I just think it's a cool trend that I'm noticing, CountryGirl. It's because she's in her head so much. She's not paying attention to her surroundings, right? Which is like totally her for her character in this moment because she's literally trying to figure shit out. So she should be lost in thought. Daydreaming, essentially. But yeah, it's solid chapter again. Brings everything together. Has that great clash. Talks about Marcus, and this is what I'm talking about. It talked about Marcus, and then Marcus showed up in the chapter. That's like filling everything out. Even if it was at the end, perfect. Perfect. It's like it's like seeing the segue to the next chapter inside of it, right? And then like even with like Cord showing up, kind of foreshadows a little bit Aaron showing up and like their conversation about, you know, making things better, what kind of sides they're going to be on. And then Aaron's like, well, I want to be like, you know, mending these bridges. It's like everything kind of flowed into it. So solid chapter. All right then. So Nico, you're up next.